Berlin doesn't introduce itself politely. It doesn't offer you a seat, pour you a glass of wine, or ask about your flight. Berlin opens the door, shrugs, and says, "Here's the chaos, have fun." And honestly, that's the charm. It's a city that wears its scars on its walls, in its concrete blocks, in its graffiti-layered corners, and somehow still feels like the most alive place you've ever walked into. It's the friend who's messy but magnetic, the one who texts you at 2 a.m. with an invite you know you shouldn't accept but do anyway. Walking through Berlin, you notice the contrasts immediately. A bullet hole here, a minimalist vegan cafe there, graffiti scrawled across a slab of concrete, and a few steps away, a quiet bookstore with chairs so mismatched they look curated. The whole city is like that. Contradictions mashed together until they somehow make sense. It's not polished, but it doesn't need to be. It's confident in its own chaos, and that confidence is infectious. Exploring Berlin isn't about hitting a checklist. It's about letting yourself get absorbed into the rhythm. Standing on the U-Bahn platform as a guy with neon green hair sings Bowie. Stumbling into a courtyard where someone's selling handmade zines next to a curry stand. Getting pulled into a lakeside picnic with people you met 8 minutes ago. You don't find Berlin, it finds you, usually when you've stopped trying. If you need an anchor, start in the heart. There's a cluster of temples to art and artifacts in the middle of the spree that the city calls Museum Island. On this small patch of land, 5 museums flex like heavyweights. The bust of Nefertiti is radiant and frankly intimidating. People gather around her like she's headlining a festival. The Altes Museum, with its parade of columns, houses objects from classical antiquity that prove people 2 millennia ago were just as extra as we are now. And while the Pergamon's main spaces are being refreshed, a colossal panorama drops you into the ancient city of Pergamon in 129 AD. Color and clamor swirling in 360 degrees. Even if your attention span is allergic to plaques, you'll feel it. The sensation that time layered itself here and forgot to leave. The magic of the island spills onto the grass. Step out into James Simon Park, and Berliners are sprawled on the lawn with beers and chessboards, while a few steps away, history towers over them. Someone's dog steals a pretzel. No one is mad. It's surreal and somehow serene. A postcard that refuses to sit still. If your brain runs on modern, slide south to the Neue Nationalgalerie, a glass and steel manifesto by Mies van der Rohe. Inside, the post-war collection is a conversation you can't ignore. Gerhard Richter's abstractions pull memory through a blender. Marina Abramović asks your nerves to sit with discomfort. Lucio Fontana slashes a canvas like he's snipping the rules in half. It's the kind of place that makes you whisper, "oh," without realizing you did. Short notes thread context, so you're not just looking. You're seeing how the decades bent culture. For a quieter shock, duck into the museum in der Kulturbrauerei in Prenzlauer Berg. It's everyday East Germany, curated with the tenderness of a family album. Laminated wood cabinets, nursery toys from factory daycares, rhyming safety posters about not drinking on the job. You stand in front of a plastic chair and suddenly it's not plastic anymore. It's a life, a system, 100 dinners under fluorescent light. I walked out thinking about doilies and dignity, and how history is often a drawer that sticks. Berlin breathes differently when you remember its 1/5 forest. On warm days, the city empties toward its lakes like iron filings racing a magnet. Wannsee is a broad-shouldered classic. Krumme Lanke is a green amphitheater of birdsong. And Schlachtensee is the one I keep returning to. Wooden steps that slip into clear water, tree shadows like lace on the surface, that first increasing cold gasp that resets your whole week. Bring a towel, sandals for the path, and an open mind about nudity. You'll be fine. Come early if the sun's loud. Shade goes fast. Closer to town, Saturday at Kollwitzplatz is a neighborhood love letter disguised as a market. Artisanal honey shares a stall row with wool blankets and woven baskets. Then there are the curveballs, soaps shaped like body parts, genderless jewelry, a guy spinning records next to a crate of heirloom carrots. Duck into Kunstebund for a rummage. Lithographs, oddball egg cups, perhaps a 1924 tea strainer you cannot explain to anyone back home but yourself. 2 streets over, Apricot cocoa hangs sustainable basics in breezy silhouettes. You touch the fabrics and start editing your suitcase in your head. Now, food. Berlin's eating scene is a map drawn with curiosity instead of straight lines. Start with a kebab that ruins all others. Rüyam Gemüse. Kebab does a sandwich that's basically a handheld parade. Fluffy pide cradling grilled chicken or all veg, crisp lettuce, fried potatoes, herbs, and a garlic lemon sauce that should have an export business. The line is part party, part patience practice. Reggaeton bumps, the staff chorus Danke at the tip jar, and strangers compare orders like proud parents. I like the way the herbs cling to your fingers for a few blocks afterward. Like the meal refuses to be over. Trade greaseproof paper for candles at Markt Local in Kreuzberg. Dark wood, a stately bar, red wax that has seen things. And then a server with pink hair who knows more about natural wine than your group chat combined. The menu treats German ingredients like a playground. White asparagus with fermented wild garlic. Beef tartare zapped with Sichuan pepper. Desserts that rotate but somehow always taste like the chef is a little bit in love with sugar. I once spooned into caramelized bananas with vanilla ice cream and walnuts and had to pause mid-sentence the way you do when a song hits a perfect note. Jomo is your people-watching headquarters on a warm evening. Park yourself outside, watch the neighborhood glide past, and order in concentric circles, smoked trout tartare, carbonara udon with French ham, a bright crudo that tastes like someone turned the lights up in your mouth. The milk punch, clarified coconut milk, pineapple rum, arrives looking innocent and then rewires your vacation. If you're abstaining, they take non-alcoholic drinks seriously. Berlin's good at pleasure without pressure. Brunch gets a whole thesis at Rocket plus Basil, run by sisters blending Persian, German, and Australian threads. The mascarpone pancakes with pistachio butter are decadent in that I worked out last month way. The sourdough piled with cannellini beans, roasted radicchio and dill feels like a well-timed apology to your body. I like to leave with a tahini halva brownie in my pocket for later, which historically means for 5 minutes from now on the sidewalk. Coffee? Berlin has opinions. Bonanza roasts clean. Bright cups that taste like somebody calibrated them with a protractor. For a fuller scene, detour to Markthalle Neue on a weekday for produce and street snacks. Or hit Street Food Thursday when global vendors turn the hall into a fragrant atlas. Grab a plate, find a corner, pretend you live here. If your crew reads one of everything, split and reconvene. When the sun slips, the soundtrack rises. Uncompressed in Kreuzberg is a listening room disguised as a bar. All reverence and resonance. Turntables, towering speakers, a wall of vinyl, and a menu that plots wines and mezcals on axes of fruitiness and eccentricity. Order something that sounds like a dare. Sit back and let a jazz trumpet repaint your insides. If you need more chaos, same heads will oblige. Neon upstairs, graffiti-worn dance floor downstairs. DJs who can segue from Italo disco to trance without breaking eye contact. Renate is the sprawling feral cousin in an old building, a fun house of rooms where dawn sneaks in through unexpected windows. And yes, the mythic power station lurks. If you roll those dice, arrive in a small group, keep the chatter low, and dress like you're here to dance. Take cash for coat check, pace yourself, and remember that the city will still be here tomorrow. Practical interlude because you asked for it and because Berlin rewards the prepared. Public transport is your superpower. U-Bahn, S-Bahn, trams, buses, all stitched together like a well-used jean jacket. Validate paper tickets or spare yourself the anxiety and use the BVG app. Night buses exist and they are heroes. Taxis and ride-hail work, but trains will beat them on both price and petty satisfaction. Carry a little cash. Cards are widely accepted, but the one kiosk you love will be the one that says, cash only. Pedestrian lights matter more than you think. Cyclists do too. Look twice. If you're here in summer, pack a swimsuit. If you're here in winter, pack a scarf and the will to drink something hot outdoors. Back to the show. Attractions that live outside the usual postcard. Take a slow lap through Tempelhoferfeld, a decommissioned airport turned park so vast you'll instinctively look both ways for planes. People windsurf on wheels, dogs pinball joyfully, barbecues set up little republics of smoke and laughter. If you want a smaller, archier pilgrimage, go to Haus am Waldsee near Schlachtensee, a lakeside villa hosting contemporary exhibitions that feel like thoughtful conversations. On your way back, the forest path smells like summer. History still hums in the city's skin. You'll see it at random corners. Scratch stone, memorial plaques you nearly miss. Walk a section of the Berlin Wall remains not for the mural selfies, but to feel the odd calm of it now. A boundary-turned canvas. Then offset the weight with a night at the Berlin State Opera. The room is velvet and ceremony, but the programming is alive. Classics and commissions sharing the stage without snobbery. I sat high in the tiers, watched the chandelier glow like a patient moon, and realized the applause in this room sounds like rain. Shopping here is better when it's specific. Skip the generic and go precise. Records, prints, local ceramics, a vintage coat that makes you walk differently. Thrift shops hide in basements, boutiques perch above street level. Buzzers don't always mean private, sometimes they mean welcome. If you see a sign for a Hof, an internal courtyard, follow it. Berlin specializes in spaces that reveal themselves slowly. At some point, you'll want a sit-down dinner that earns a small speech. Here's one more name for your list. Kanayan, an Israeli-Palestinian kitchen where the hummus is silk and the salads are bright enough to need sunglasses. The place feels like a postcard from a better future. Another detour, Mrs. Robinson's in Prenzlauer Berg, where the menu reads like a travel diary. You don't need many reservations on this trip, you just need the right ones. If you hit a queue, embrace the Spatkoff culture. Grab a cold drink from a late-night shop and turn the sidewalk into a living room. Nightcap strategy matters. In a city that can go until noon, you should decide whether you're dancing, listening, or talking. For talking, find a quiet bar on a side street and order a schnapps you've never heard of. For listening, return to uncompress on a different night. Records change, the room changes with them. For dancing, remember that the first rule of Berlin is, don't force it. Wander. The best nights here are happy accidents. Sleep is the final category, and Berlin gives you settings to match your plot. Splurge and you're at Hotel de Rome, a grand old bank reincarnated as a hotel with a rooftop that seems to catch all the city's golden hour, and a pool lounging between old vault walls. Aim Center and you're at Gin City and Lounge York, Berlin, neatly between neighborhoods that keep you busy by day and night, with a rooftop to survey your conquests. Keep it lean, and you're at the Bellman Hotel in Neue. Clean lines, warm breakfast, short walks to cafes where you'll chat with the barista. Or take the apartment route, leafy cafe-scented Prenzlauer Berg if your morning starts slow, Kreuzberg if you prefer your nights noisy and your kebab options immediate. If you're the see-everything type, stay near the Ringbahn, the Loop is your compass. Here's how I keep days balanced so the city doesn't run me over. I'll pair one big, brainy stop, say the Neue Nationalgalerie, with one tactile neighborhood wander, like letting my feet make choices along the Landwehr Canal. I'll drop a lake trip into the middle if the sun's out, then let dinner decide the rest. And I always give myself a market hour to find an object I didn't know I wanted, but now absolutely need. This is not an itinerary, it's a rhythm section. Berlin will provide the melody. A few more nuts and bolts notes because the small things add up. Most museums offer reduced or combined tickets. If you're doing more than one, check for passes. Popular restaurants accept bookings but also hold walk-in space. Arrive early or late, and you'll often slide right in. Tipping is simpler than people make it. Round up, add a bit more. If service made your night, say it with eye contact. Cyclists appear from nowhere and everywhere. Look both ways twice. Lakes have kiosks, but your picnic will taste better if you build it yourself. Bread, cheese, cherries, something sparkling. Carry a reusable bottle. Parks have fountains and your conscience will thank you. And now, a word on weather and wardrobe. Black layers are the uniform, but not a rule. Comfortable shoes beat cool shoes by mile 3. A compact tote will make you feel like you've lived here for years. Pack something you can sit on in the park and something you won't mind getting grass on. I carry a pen because this city still loves paper. Flyers, maps, scribbled addresses of clubs that don't post them online. In spring and autumn, a light jacket is your best friend. In July, sunscreen and patience for spontaneous parades. December brings markets in every square and steam in every cup. What makes Berlin stick isn't one attraction or one meal. It's the way a day can hold multitudes. A morning spent staring at antiquity's calm face, an afternoon lake float, an evening kebab dripping onto your wrist, a midnight dance in a room where everyone agreed to leave their small talk at the door. It's not trying to impress you. It's inviting you to participate. If you meet it halfway, it meets you with a grin and a story you'll tell for years. And I'll admit something selfish. I like the way this city edits me. I slow down where it asks, speed up when the bass line kicks in, and remember that curiosity is a muscle worth exercising. Everything I've mentioned, museums, markets, lakes, restaurants, bars, clubs, places to stay, lives in the description below so you can cherry pick what fits your mood and paste it into your own plans. If this tour through Berlin's beautiful contradictions helped, tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with the friend who always suggests somewhere a little different. Bring curiosity, leave expectations, and let the city's rhythm do what it does best. Make room for you.